You know, there's a lot of ways you can set up your electronics these days, and Simrad has made it really simple to where you can actually push these screens all around and have any kind of configuration that you're comfortable with. You know, this is a brand new boat we rigged out this year, and you know, let's say we have an empty boat and you're going to rig it out, and you know, some of the things you need to do is you start with the motors, you pick your motors, yeah, that's very important, and then you move on to electronics, which is the number 2 important thing on a boat. And what I like to do is have a larger screen, which is in front of the steering wheel, where I'm going to spend the most time. So, you know, you can spend that more money on a larger screen, and then you can have a smaller screen off to the right, you know, be it the bottom machine, your radar, what have you. The nice thing about this Simrad equipment is it all talks to each other. So if I want to make this the bottom machine, it's the bottom machine. If I want to make this the chart, it's the chart. You know, if I want to make it the gauges to the motors, there it is, you know, it's the gauges. And I can do the same over there. So when I'm out rigging a boat, I'm looking for equipment that'll talk to each other. Even the VHF radios these days, they talk and communicate to the GPS. So if I was in trouble for, say, I key that mic, it's going to actually relay the GPS numbers to other vessels, knowing where I am, and, you know, hence speeds the recovery of any kind of safety issue. You know, another thing I'm looking for is radar. You know, with all this stuff working together, you got the radar with a touch of a button. You know, there it is, powered up, ready to go. All you do is you hit transmit and the thing's transmitting. You know, they've also come up with this touchscreen technology, which makes it extremely nice. If you want to see the bottom machine, the chart plotter, I mean, there it is. There's really not a lot of thinking. You know, you don't have to read the buttons. If you want side scan, you push you just touch the screen and there's your side scan sonar. You know, I want to be able to move the screens around in case I'm just strictly looking for bottom structure, looking for some fish to catch, or I want to be able to move the screen to the chart. If I'm pulling into a marina I've never been before, I want that screen up and center where that thing is actually going to be as big as you can make it, or I can zoom all the way in and know exactly where I need to be, where I'm not going to damage my boat. Well, the way I like to do it is I like to have one of my screens set up for a bottom machine, and the other screen is a chart. On the other side of that chart, I like to have a navigation screen. The reason that is because fuel is very expensive these days, and I want to go from A to B in the shortest amount of, you know, fuel burn. So this allows me, it'll give me a heading of what I'm doing and a heading to the waypoint, and I can get right on track A to B. And, you know, obviously the shortest distance between any two objects is, you know, a straight line. So that keeps me straight line. Now, you know, a lot of guys are used to having this full chart up. Well, the thing is, the whole chart doesn't give you all those lines that you need to travel A to B and keep that distance short. Now, with Simrad, you can have that full chart up, but then with just a push of a button, boom, you're right back to having your navigation on one side and your chart on the other. Again, with your bottom machine here, you can do that as well. You can change this around and have any kind of configuration you want to have, you know, by the push of a button. With having the configuration set up like this, it's really critical when I'm getting ready to throw the anchor, because, you know, I only want to anchor one time. I want to get it done and get it done right. You know, this navigation page is going to get me within feet. You know, it's saying 2 feet, 3 feet from that waypoint. I'm checking the bottom machine, making sure I have the depth I want. I got the chart for the contour of the bottom. And all those things combined, those 3 things at one time, not individually looking at one to the other. I mean, I got them all running, everything at once. I'm putting that anchor down exactly where I want to be. Now, once I get to the spot, one of my favorite things to do is get on that chart, right, and have this knob capable of zooming in very tight, because what that's going to allow me to do is to see the contour of the bottom. You know, we're up here fishing, and, you know, we're not real familiar with this area. I was able to zoom in, pick a contour of the bottom, you know, that was a nice drop off, and we set up there and we had plenty sailfish action, all kinds of fishing action, and never really fished this area much at all. You know, in the past when I was rigging up boats, you know, I always took the best GPS and the best bottom machine and the best radar, and I had all these different components, but they never talked to each other. Well, now with Simrad, it's all here. We got the system. I mean, every single thing is by the touch of the finger, whether you want radar, whether you want chart plotter, whether you want side scan sonar, it's all wrapped into one machine. It's only Simrad for me.